We're back, boys. We're back, boys. We're back talking about the Chiefy over here. So here's the problem. I don't know if it's something to do with my internet, where just randomly it decides that, oh, suddenly we're having problems despite me using an Ethernet cable and everything's fine, or if it's just something weird with the GeForce experience. You know? Guys, just streaming is like weird, right? Trying to think of how we can close off this discussion, because I was kind of wrapping up anyways. Am I excited for Halo Infinite? I am. I have a variety of reasons to be excited. Here, let me try turning off the animated background. Maybe that'll fix whatever the issue is. Livestream 2, Electric Boogaloo. See, someone gets it. I've been a bit disappointed with the people who are not in on the Electric Boogaloo joke. Calling the sequel to something like whatever 2, Electric Boogaloo. But I've been happy whenever a subscriber does catch on and they join in. Like, oh, the stream's back. It's Stream 2, Electric Boogaloo. And it's like, yes, you understand. like it's like a connection, you know? You know what? We'll probably do a bit of Prey Moon Crash. That's an example of really good post-launch DLC. I mean, Prey's a good game anyway, but Moon Crash is really good. What do I think of Destiny 2 Forsaken? I think it's the best piece of DLC that Destiny has ever had, and that's a very, very, very low bar. It's much better than any of the... Let me turn it down before it gets crazy loud. It's more worth your money than the Taken King was, more worth your money than Rise of Iron, definitely worth more money than those awful, like, expansions, or whatever the hell they called them. Like the tiny pieces of DLC that they overcharged for. Forsaken's pretty good. It's not great. It's still Destiny 2, and it has a lot of Destiny 2's problems, but it's good. Glitch is still talking about this. Dude, like, am I gonna have to put you in, like, like, Glitch, come on, man. Let's change the subject, alright? Unpopular opinion, Prey near the final third of the game began to drain me. Oh, that's not unpopular. That's almost a well-regarded fact that the end of the game was very bad. Not bad, because it definitely wasn't, like, mechanically broken. It's just, it lost all of its steam. So it's not just you. It's one of those things that you just kind of compromise. You're like, okay, I'm going into this game knowing the ending isn't going to be very good, and I'm okay with that. I'm going to enjoy the rest of the game for what it is. Here, I'm gonna try to go for, getting this guy off the moon base in the, in that, like, crate. Zach Ross says, "Hey Taras, how jealous are you of this local boy getting to be able to drive a warthog around his hometown in Forza Horizon 4? I'm pretty jealous." Hey, I got a question. How come the standard issue pistol of the UNSC is the Magnum is a 50 caliber weapon? That would be like if the U.S. military replaced the M9 with a Desert Eagle. Yeah, and that's essentially what the Magnum is.
Warning.
I mean, I don't think it's a standard issue. Whoa, what is going on? What is going on? Why do I... Why do I have a bubble?
Indoors until the issue is resolved.
Oxygen suit? What is going on? I've never seen this before. Is this like low oxygen? Is the oxygen out? Am I gonna die? What is going on? This is completely new. I don't know why I have a bubble around my face. I think the oxygen is depleted in this part of the station. I've never spawned with this problem before. That's interesting. So if you guys are wondering what the context is, what I'm playing right here, basically Prey, the base game, is designed as a ode to Bioshock and System Shock and games like that. They're called immersive sims, those type of video games. And this game is basically like the kind of last bastion, a big love letter to that genre of video game. And it takes place in like a 1960s-esque future, you know, where the aesthetic is very like space race, Soviet, Red Scare type aesthetic stuff. Like think of 2001: A Space Odyssey. It has that kind of aesthetic to it. Yeah, I think I've never had this problem before where the dome was breached and the oxygen was gone. This is interesting. That thing over there that's moving through the ground, that thing's called a moon shark. That thing's coming for me. It can sense vibrations. Here, let me get over here. This DLC is basically... the best way to pitch it to you is... you're given a tiny little space station, and there are multiple ways to escape from it, and when you escape, you unlock a new character, and basically the way to beat the game is to do you see that corruption level 1 up in the top screen? Ignore the corruption, blah blah blah. It's a timer. It's a timer that's counting down. I think you have approximately 2 hours or something like that of game time. And the idea is that you have 2 hours to get one by one by one by one all of your playable characters off the moon base before the countdown hits 0. And as the countdown gets closer and closer to 0, the world gets full of more and more monsters for you to deal with. It's a very fun DLC. There's a lot of replay value, and it is difficult. It is very hard. I still haven't been able to get everybody off the station. So, microtransactions. Yeah, let's finish up our talk about microtransactions. So, microtransactions. Let's talk about them. Microtransactions, Infinite, I think we're okay for now, because I do think the industry
Attention,
is
everyone.
in
We have
a reactionary
a very
phase
special
to the loot
announcement
box
from
scare,
our
where they're kind of being
director.
strong-armed into being pro-consumer.
Director Riley
And I believe
Yu
that with Infinite we will not
will
be
soon
seeing
begin
something as
testing of the new
aggressive
Titan
as
towers in the crater.
the Rec
Our
system, where it's
specialists
just
assure me the
completely
burst
tangled and
energy is
compromised the game.
harmless to humans. Nonetheless, make sure
And
you
you
are
know, that
behind
obviously
greater
is a discussion that we have brought up, you know. When we go to 343, we don't just sing their praises while we're there. We do say, hey, So that Halo 5 rec system, that wasn't very good, was it? Obviously, you know, they can't say things to us because they're making the game. But there's definitely a better balance that they're trying to strike with Infinite. Oh god, something's trying to steal my gun. Oh, fuck it up. Where'd it go? It's invisible. Freaked out. Where is it? Whoa! Yeah. What? Was that it? Yes, I got it! The Poltergeist. I look really paranoid right now. I can't hear the game's audio. So I can't hear when, like, creatures are sneaking up on me. Let's open some cell doors. In you guys' opinion, what do you think is the best? I think I asked this before in the last one, but, you know, that was the previous chat. So in this chat, let's flood it with some ideas for monetization systems that you think are realistic in terms that they do bring in money, but are consumer friendly. As in, it's like you're not compromising aspects of your game to strong-arm players into feeling like they have to spend money to enjoy themselves. Kind of like the rec system, where a good portion of people did feel it was too grindy. You know, there's still people to this day who don't have the DMR in Halo 5. And I'm betting those people are just thinking, $2 for a rec pack? That's not bad. And it's like, that's how they get you, because when you spend those $2, you're not going to get that DMR that you wanted. You're going to get a nameplate you don't care about. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Just gonna hide up here from the goo boys down there. I think we bring up Titanfall 2 a lot as a really good example. What's another example besides Titanfall 2 of like a big budget AAA video game that has oddly pro-consumer practices that you'd expect it to be swindling people out of their money, but it's not. Oh, watch the corruption timer. We're about to hit... Yep, we're at level 2 now. Once it reaches level 5, that's it. Game over. The map resets. I have to start over. I couldn't come up with something more creative. I'm kind of operating on 2 hours of sleep right now, so my brain is a little bit compromised. Ooh. My eyes hurt. Let me open up these chats. I want to see some of your ideas. Rainbow Six Siege. See, Rainbow Six Siege, I'm not liking. Ubisoft is getting there. Remember the zombie outbreak thing? Remember how ridiculous that was, their monetization for that? You know, Ubisoft is starting to get there. They're ruining something great that they have. Ooh, I'm gonna open that. I want that, whatever's in there. What is this? Ooh, I like this. I'm gonna use this to cut up Typhon. Okay. Yeah, guys, I'm starting to fade fast. Oh man, I am really tired. The lack of sleep is... Wow, it's hitting me all at once suddenly. Here, I'm probably gonna pause the game actually and just interact with you guys directly for now. Just conserve what little brain power I have left right now. How do you feel about Halo Infinite having DLC like Halo Wars 2 Awakening in the Nightmare along with free multiplayer DLC? I love that idea. I really like that idea. I like paid content, like paid map packs and stuff. I do like that. I understand the concerns. But I don't think that paid map packs are inherently an issue. I think there are ways that you can do it that does not... Obviously, there are fragments for the player base. There are some map packs that do fragment the player base, but I don't necessarily think fragmenting is always bad. You can have your portions of the community that buy something because they really want to play it, and then they kind of stay to that and they play that little thing. Thoughts on a Halo Battle Royale game mode? I don't think Battle Royale would work really well in Halo, just given Halo's formula. I think what Halo would benefit more from is I don't know if you guys have seen Dying Light Bad Blood, where it's not a Battle Royale game, but it's definitely inspired by one. And it takes Battle Royale and mixes it much better with the Dying Light formula. Like a no respawns thing. I don't know. What should the armor look like in the new Halo? Classic feel or a Spartan 3 type of look? Oh man, I'd like if they go like with something kind of like Halo 2 Anniversary's multiplayer. I'd personally prefer that they just straight up go back to Classic, but I understand that's probably also unrealistic, but I don't know. I hope that we see something Classic. I really hope that that Infinite trailer was indicative, because remember, they did mention that the game is going to be featuring a new art style for the series we have not seen before, done by Sparth. Can you finish my question about the Magnum, why it's 50 cal? I don't think it's the standard issue for the UNSC. I just think that's just for games. People know the Magnum. Do you think that having Xbox exclusives on PC badly devalues the Xbox brand heavily? No, not at all. Not everyone has PCs. You know, not everyone has PCs. The people who do have PCs, they get to enjoy the great games, and the people who have Xboxes, they get to enjoy them too. Everyone wins. I don't support a plastic box. You know, I don't have emotional ties to a box of circuitry and hardware. So I don't care about Xbox. I care about games. I prefer my PC because it does a lot more than what my Xbox does, and probably even more than what the next generation of Xbox is going to do. And I'd prefer to play my games the way that they are meant to be played, which is the highest quality possible. So I'd love to see Halo come to PC. I'd prefer it. I probably wouldn't go back to console unless it was playing with my friends. We need Halo Apple Edition to come back. You know, guys, we do. Remember that Apple reveal? We need to go back to that. That's the real Halo art style, guys. The Halo Reach art style I thought was boring. Somebody brought it up. I think it's boring. It's like, hey, remember Halo? That super colorful, adventurous, warm, inviting game with lots of vibrance and life. Let's make it a boring brown military shooter. Like, let's remove all the color. Let's make it look borderline black and white. I didn't like the way Reach looked. Like, for all the problems of Halo 4's new aesthetic for the series, I at least appreciate that they remember, oh yeah, Halo had color once upon a time, and, like, life. What do you think of Captain Marvel? I don't know, it's hard to say. My philosophy to the Marvel movies basically is that I'm just like, I'm never actively excited about any of them until I see them, and then I'm like, oh, that was really good. You know, Captain Marvel, I haven't even watched the trailer yet. You know, I've seen the jokes about her punching an old lady. But I'm like, I don't really care about watching the trailer. I'll see it anyways. I'm sure it'll be really good. Are we kind of at the end of our discussion about microtransactions, guys? Remember what I said on the last stream, the one that got rudely interrupted? Context matters. Remember, real money loot boxes is a term used by the government and even the video game industry to describe the difference between loot boxes that were designed with monetary intentions, and just loot boxes that are, you know, just a part of a gameplay system that have no money to them. You know, like a RNG reward from an MMO. I think Chris Lee said real money loot boxes as in he was referring to that industry term, as in there will be no loot boxes in the game that have ways via currency that you can obtain them. Dark setting does not equal bland art style. You're right, and unfortunately Halo Reach had a bland art style. He said something about the Spider-Man game. Oh, the Spider-Man game looks really good and I'd like to play it. Was that it? Yeah, sorry guys, Reach wasn't that good looking. I mean, yes, the model quality was good, but it was very bland looking for a Halo game. There was like no color. There's no life. It was like, remember when you step out of your cryopod? Or not your cryopod, your escape pod in the first game, and there's so much green and the sky's blue. With Reach, it's like brown and boring and depressing, and it makes you want to like take up an unhealthy lifestyle. How will 343 explain lore-wise the old UNSC style coming back? That's easy, man. You know, I see a lot of people scratching their heads and being furious. How will they explain it? It's like, guys, they write they write stories. Like, you watched a trailer. Of course the trailer is not going to tell you anything. You know, that's like watching that E3 trailer back in 2013 for Halo 5 and being like, but the trailer doesn't say how Chief got his visor cracked. It's like, yes, because it's a trailer. You figure that out by playing the game.
Material detected.
Like, calm down.
Gate reactivation.
We'll be fine. The game will explain it. Yeah, we're running into problems. The corruption level is high, so there's like mimics everywhere. Come here, you goo boys. Yeah, we're gonna be calling it quits. So I'm gonna open up this chat and talk to you guys a little bit more before we call it quits. Halo Reach wasn't that good looking, coming from the person who just gave a lecture on intellectual property. Those two things are very unrelated. Why'd you say that? Those aren't related at all. Reach still looks infinitely better than Halo 5. Well, do you mean graphically? Because objectively, no. You know, Halo 5 uses higher quality tech. That's just an objective fact. Reach can't look better. It just can't. It doesn't have the technology behind it. I mean, if you're talking about artistically, that's subjective. They should do loot boxes like Battlefield 1. Oh no. I hated Battlefield 1's loot boxes, dude. I hated that game's loot boxes. That was like oppressive. When it's weird, because in Halo Reach as well, that is a filter. Like, the game probably doesn't look boring and brown under the filter. It probably looks a lot more lively. It's just that gross desaturation filter that they have, and the gross, like, film grain. I bet you could mod it to turn that shit off and actually see a pretty game underneath. They already said they won't do loot boxes, Jeremiah's saying at Late Night Gaming. Jeremiah, buddy, we've talked about that. We mentioned that about an hour ago, man. It's motion blur, not grain filter. No, there is a grain filter. The motion blur, from what I understand, is a anti-aliasing technique that just looks bad. It creates a ghosting effect. A lot of people think it's motion blur, but it's actually just ghosting. Have you seen the Halo Infinite conceptual art of a weird Reach-looking smiling Spartan? That wasn't from Halo Infinite. That was from that upcoming Scholastic book. I think everyone's saying it's Infinite concept art, when no, it's just artwork for that upcoming Scholastic, like, field manual thing. What do you think about the Reach Elites? They weren't great looking, I thought. That was the first game where I started to notice that the Elites were starting to look a little bit weird. And then Halo 4 took it a little bit too far. Grim said it was Infinite? Oh, well, if Grim said it was Infinite, then I guess it was Infinite. Okay, Tross, you hate the filter in Halo Reach. Besides, what do you think of the art style of the UNSC? It reminds me of a proto Halo Combat Evolved, which I think is very interesting. It looks like Combat Evolved, but with less sophisticated technology, and obviously better visuals, so they could render a lot more detail on things. It's definitely not a bad-looking game. Like, when I say I think Reach is ugly, I say that from a subjective viewpoint that you are free to disagree with. For me, Halo has always been about color. So when Reach decided to kind of be, like, brown... You know, when I think of Halo, I think of, like, the custom games. I think of people bouncing around and sorting each other with confetti spraying everywhere and all the color and the fun and the life. And then I think of Reach custom games and everything's so dull looking because it's so going for that military war look. And it's just, for me, that was never Halo. Halo was not like this gritty, dark, oppressive war game. Halo was always very fantastical, very colorful, and very bright and lively. Phoenix Dragon thinks he's being ignored. What are your thoughts on the Spyro Reignited trilogy? Oh, I don't care. I didn't play Spyro when I was younger. So I have no emotional ties to that series. I'm glad they're doing it, though, because Spyro has required justice for a while. The Spyro fans needed this remaster that's coming, and I'm happy that it's finally happening. Would you consider going on CRT Tikal's podcast or having him on yours? Oh, of course. Yeah. If somebody wants to reach out to me on Twitter for a podcast, I'd love to do it. I don't care about subscriber counts because I understand I was small once too. And if I can help out in any way, I like helping out smaller YouTubers. I like giving them a boost. Do you like Reach's campaign? No, not really. I don't like the combat loop. I don't think the gameplay is very good. It's very weird. It's like the elites are constantly running away from you, and so you're constantly just chasing them, but you have to like time all your shots because of the weird recoil mechanics. And it just kind of leads to this like shooting gallery where everybody is just out of reach of you and they're all firing their weapons at you. It's the same problem Halo 4 has. Every encounter takes place at like a long range. And the stuff that does happen close range, the elites are like just dodging, bucking, like flying around the place, and they're so hard to hit until they eventually just sprint away from you out of the room. And it's like, great, I have to chase them down. It was a very tedious game to play. I even played it recently and my opinions hadn't really changed. I was like, yeah, no, this is about as tedious as I remember it being. I don't like the combat loop of Reach. Hey, Late Night Gaming, on Greencell's Twitter, he posted some concept art on September 2nd. Oh yeah, no, I got the same piece of concept art. Yeah, it's very beautiful. Why didn't the brutes in Halo Reach have hair? I think the brutes in Halo Reach, they were trying to make them probably look less ape-like because there were a lot of people kind of complaining about the very tribalistic nature of them and them literally looking like apes, and it's kind of like, you can kind of start to see where we're verging on. You could there's some allegories that you could make that you probably don't want to make comparing certain groups of people and their cultures to primates. You don't want to do that. And so I assume that was more of an artistic decision. And then also I think some of it was them trying to make the brutes look a lot more fanatical because they're completely shaven and they're just covered in like Forerunner glyphs and stuff like that. Does sprint in every FPS game make it worse? I don't think every FPS game. I think it depends on the game. I don't think sprint really adds to many FPS games. I think some it does, and some it does improve them. But games like Halo, I think sprint actually hurts combat. He has a rather large sub count, but you two are my favorite YouTubers. Well, if he was ever to reach out to me, I'd love to be on his stream. Could you imagine if Titanfall didn't have sprint? Oh, I could imagine. I think Titanfall would be a lot more fun if it didn't have sprint. Could you imagine wall running and flying around the place at that speed with the ability to fire while on the move? I mean, in Titanfall anyways, I give all my guns the ability to fire while sprinting. Just make sprint the base player movement speed. Get rid of all the fucking sprint nonsense. Let you fire while moving at max speed. I think it'll make the game a lot more fun. Do I think that the Master Chief is wearing Gen 3 armor? I think he's wearing armor we've never seen before in Infinite. I think it's going to be a new suit of armor. I don't think it's going to be his Halo 3 armor like people are thinking. I think it's going to be something completely new. What is my favorite part of Reach? Oh, easily. I really like the New Alexandria mission. That was such a good level. What are your views on the Battlefield 5 controversy? Oh, dude, which ones? I feel so bad for the developers of that game. Microsoft employees should be gassed. That's horrible. Why would you say something like that? That's an awful thing to say to somebody. Do you think Gmod could ever be ported to console? I think it could. It's up to if Valve cares, to be honest, and I don't think they do. What are your thoughts on a Halo FPS game based on the Spirit of Fire? Dude, I love the Spirit of Fire. I love that crew. I love that aesthetic and that look. I hope we see more of the Spirit of Fire and what they're up to on the Ark. Late Night Gaming, I missed your last stream and saw you live here, so what are your thoughts on the Halo Infinite microtransactions? Okay, that's actually a good way that we can end this stream. I'll condense what we talked about on the last stream. Okay, it started when a job listing was uncovered. The job listing was very, like, warm and fuzzy and kind of coated, you know, and sugar-coated microtransactions, which I think a lot of people got mad because they didn't realize the context was this was not for you to see. This was for other people to see. Mainly, it's like a job opportunity, like that you see outside of Starbucks. Like, we're hiring and we're a fun time. You know, it's supposed to make the job seem a lot more fun than it actually is. It's probably very boring. So it uses lots of fluffy words to make the job seem very appealing. And people took that out of context and like, oh boy, the game's going to be fucking full of them. And it's like, the job description was not for a creative director. It was for somebody to design a microtransaction system alongside the developers making a video game. You know, the two are not intrinsically linked, though there is a problem where a lot of games do compromise themselves, and that's the fine line that we walk. We don't know enough about Infinite to see how bad the problems could get, but we'll see. Microsoft has been pretty good with microtransactions lately. State of Decay 2 has had pretty good micro DLC. Sea of Thieves, for all of its problems, the developers are doing allegedly a pretty good job of fixing it and working with the community. Now, a lot of people were worried that the microtransactions job listing was talking about loot boxes. Chris Lee from 343 stepped in to say there will be no real money loot boxes in the game. People thought that the wording was very weird, which it is, but I bring up that there is actually a term used in the industry and also government regulation where the term cash loot box or real money loot box is a term used to describe loot boxes that you can acquire via direct or indirect means with real money. So, knowing that, the way I perceive Chris Lee's tweet is, no. If there are loot boxes in the game, there's no way to get them with money. There's no currency that you can buy or anything. No, they're not cash loot boxes. You know? It's probably going to be more like an RPG or something where it's going to be like randomized rewards, like loot drops or something. You know, if Infinite does my theory that I posited a while ago saying that it's going to be a response to Destiny. If they do go some kind of big shared world MMOE type route, maybe that's what we'll be seeing. But it won't be money based. It'll be game systems based. So whatever microtransactions are going to be in the game, they're not going to be loot boxes. And that's where the discussion starts. Okay, so what are we going to be getting then? And that's where the topic I give to you guys. Are you guys optimistic, or is the end nigh? The sun is about to explode and engulf the earth, and the next Halo game will have microtransactions. You know? What do you guys think is on the horizon for the Halo series? And you guys are free to talk about it on Facebook, on Twitter. You know, tag me in your conversations. Reach out to me. I'd like to hear your thoughts. And guys, I'm probably, like, if I was a car, my gas light would be on right now because I am about to die. I need to get into the shower and I need to go to bed early because I did not get enough sleep last night and I'm crashing hard. But I enjoyed doing this with you guys. The reason I wanted to stream this specifically instead of make a video about it was because I actually do like the personal interactions, though I don't want to be lazy and just stream. The reason that I'm taking so long to upload my next video is because I'm working very hard on it. I'm actually quite proud of this. It's going to be a discussion type video, kind of like the art style debate videos, but about Halo's music. And it's kind of like, I don't want this one to just be a knee-jerk reaction from this sounds more Halo and this doesn't. I'm like trying to actually dissect and analyze what makes Halo music Halo. And why I feel Halo 4 and 5 and Halo Wars 2 missed the mark in a lot of ways of making a Halo-sounding soundtrack. Where you got Spartan Assault done by Tom Solta, where that sounds like a Halo-ass Halo soundtrack. Dude, like, now that Kazuma isn't at 343, I'd love to see Tom Solta. Like, his work on Spartan Assault and Spartan Strike, that's what Halo should sound like. But yeah, I'll be doing a video on that about the music of Halo and stuff, and I'm working really hard on it, and I'm proud of what it's coming into. It's a little bit unwieldy. I'm chopping out a lot of bits. I'm kind of refining it and stuff, but I'm proud of what it's becoming, and you guys should expect it to be out in the next couple days. So guys, I will see you later. We are going to end the stream, and I love you guys.